Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League, where historical results just don't matter and the matches seem to keep getting better. That one was an absolute barn burner, and this next one is sure to deliver as well. Matt, San Francisco Shock, Atlanta Reign, what a matchup.
This should be a very good game, although Atlanta has struggled as of late, and the Shock are starting to hit a stride, getting back to their almost championship form. I don't think fully completely there, but they are on a nice winning streak. Their wins are dominant wins, just like not seeing it over the prolonged period of time. I think that's your only kind of doubt. But the Shock definitely look to be heading up, where the Atlanta Reign, a lot of high expectations coming into the season. They haven't really fulfilled those yet.
I mean, I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't set the stage for this game based on a ridiculous result we saw from these two in the past. So with that, it is time for Connections, presented by Xfinity. And Matt, the last time these two went head-to-head, it went to 7 maps in a playoff.
Long one. Yeah, it was a long one.
It was so hype. I don't think I've ever... my voice has ever broken like that, at least not in the last 10 years or so.
Oh, yeah.
And it came down to a final fight on Rialto, where the Shock were gravitic fluxed off of the payload. And, you know, it wasn't a C9 as we call it, but they were pushed to the very limit, and there was an unforced error that allowed Atlanta to knock them into the lower bracket.
Yeah, and I think what everybody remembers is not really the series as a whole, because I think everybody just remembers Rialto, and then the map was Rialto, and then they remember Moth's face at the end.
Yes.
And they remember that Atlanta won. But that loss, I think, woke up the Shock, and that allowed them to go on that win streak through losers and make it all the way there.
It was crazy that, like, the motivation that it seemed like that provided the Shock for them to just run through the rest of the league and dominate even in the grand final match. And Moth might have got boomed in that match, but I tell you what, he's starting to hand out the booming so far. Last week, he was unbelievable on the Lucio. Obviously, a huge moment when he and Smurf combined for a 3K. A very unlikely boop kill through a very small part of the map for an environmental kill. And look at his stats. They speak for himself. The offensive assists are excellent. His environmental kills is second in the league right now at 0.86 per 10, which is quite a lot. When you think about how rarely, you know, environmental kills can come along for Lucio, and it's always map dependent, having almost one every 10 minutes is quite something to be proud of.
Right, and I think Moth is ascending in terms of like the MVP discussion as well. I think a lot of people were just talking about like really like Carpe for the Philadelphia Fusion as like usual, a clear runaway as like an MVP candidate. But I think Moth is starting to get some love, get some recognition about how big of an impact he has for the Shock.
Yeah, I mean, the Shock now are on a 6-match winning streak, and we got in touch with Moth and got some of his thoughts as to, you know, what creates this kind of streak that the Shock have shown us before in the past and as they are right now.
So after losing those 2 matches to Valiant and Gladiators, we kind of changed our approach to hero pools. That weekend we really didn't have a good read on the meta, but after losing those 2 matches, we kind of changed our priorities for scrims, made sure we were trying out a bunch of different comps to get a better read on the meta every week. We started practicing more, increasing our scrim blocks from 2 scrim blocks a day to 3 scrim blocks a day to give us like more variety in the teams we practice against, because I think for hero pools it really matters who you play against, so that you can see a variety of different comps.
Interesting, Matt. He sort of speaks about getting variety in teams that they're practicing against. I feel like the Shock are forced to play, or all teams are forced to play a lot of different styles with hero pools, but also now they're giving them a chance to play against a bunch of different styles and see what other teams' takes are on hero pools and how they would respond to it in game.
Yeah, it's been one thing that I think every team across the league has really stated, that they need as much scrim time, even more scrim time than ever before because of hero pools. More days, more trial and error. And I think, I honestly, with the more trial and error is more days and more blocks, because you're going to have a lot of error in that, where you want to find something that does work. So you just have to keep going. Which is where I think you see a lot of teams struggle to deal with it, right? Like it's a long season, week after week. You're trying to go back, reinvent the compositions you're playing, reinvent the meta for the week. And I think to keep on that type of pace throughout the whole season can be tough. Like the Shock, it seems like they've kind of put themselves in a good spot now where this could see a long-term success.
So let's have a look at the starters, Matt, for the San Francisco Shock today. So Ansan Sniper starts in alongside Rascal and DPS. So we have Super starting in. Last week it was much more Smurf, so that maybe makes you think, all right, well, Arisa is out of the pool right now. She's unavailable for selection. And Violet and Moth. So nothing hugely shocking about this Shock lineup.
No, but what they do tell me, though, is you'll probably see some more Reinhardt play from the Shock. And then also with Ons in the lineup, you expect to see some McCree. So maybe whether it be Ryan D.Va, Ryan Sigma, McCree with an Echo, potentially. Rascal, obviously a tremendous Echo player. That's what the Shock starters kind of screams to me right now.
We spent a lot of time sort of talking a little bit about the Shock recently, but let's shift the focus now to the Atlanta Reign. Here's their starting lineup, and it's going to be starting with Edison and Baby. So still no sign of Erster yet early in this series. And they're going to have Gator and Hawk, of course, and Dogman and Masa to round it out.
And I'm happy to see Gator and Hawk back in the lineup. They played a lot earlier in the season. This also probably kind of tends yourself to see more double shield potentially for the Atlanta Reign.
Sigma is just disgusting.
But not seeing Ursa at all. Like we talked a little bit about it. Me and Josh, I think, and the rest of the guys on Plot Chat, where like Ursa last year in Stage 4 was like a contender for like the MVP of the stage, right? I mean, he was so good later in the season last year.
People were saying like Rookie of the Year, right? I mean, he got that like crazy 6K on Tracer on Eichenwald. Like, there's so many crazy things that he was doing in the DPS role for Atlanta.
You can't tell me you can't find any type of way to work him into the lineups. So it's really odd to not see Ursa in, although it's not like they're not playing Ursa and just kind of playing people like off the street, right? I mean, Baby Bay's tremendous, and then Edison is very, very good as well. So it may be just the need of wanting to have some more hit scan in there with Baby Bay to play, whether it be Ashe or McCree or Widow, and then you want to play Edison almost all of the time.
Well, now with that all said, quite the preamble to this Clash of Titans, let's head and have a look at our map set. We're going back to Lijiang Tower to start the series off. We'll get Volskaya Industries, and then interesting map 3 will be Junkertown. So who knows what we get out of that map, what compositions, what result, and Kings Row, if Kings Row's in a position to decide the series, that will be also quite fascinating. So we've got some spicy maps lined up for you. We've got some spicy teams, and the hero pool right now is ripe for some exciting strategies, and this is right where you want to be, sat in front of your computer, in your gym jams, watching the Overwatch League.
In your gym jams.
In your gym jams. I mean, it's 5:30 p.m. here. If I had the choice, I'd still be in my gym jams, Matt.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's the weekday schedule, right?
Yeah, you know it. And everybody now, we have an opportunity here just to just don't forget what we saw from these two teams, and don't forget the kind of rivalry that sort of could have formed after the Atlanta Reign managed to topple the Shock in those playoffs. Because I guarantee you, it plays like Dogman, it plays like Super on these two teams. You better believe that there'll be some trash talk.
One of the things I'm excited for in this series is to see the hit scan play between Ons and Baby Bay. You know, Ons has been really good when we've seen him play like McCree, really like McCree, Widow, Ashe, like those type of heroes.
It's the hit scan, yeah.
It'll be really good to see him go against Baby Bay. Baby Bay will take those duels, will fight with the best of them in terms of the hit scan. So you should see a lot of awesome stuff between those two players.
Here we go. San Francisco versus Atlanta. We kick it off on Control here, and I very much doubt Ansan is going to be playing the Genji, although a man can dream. The Hog is not actually an impossibility. Definitely could be a factor. We've seen it sort of kind of punish defensive Winston compositions in the past.
Yeah, potentially.
I'd like to see it. But I won't. But
Looks
I'd
like some changes. Yeah, we got some changes coming through. Super plays the Rhine, as you kind of expect. I think both of these sims are just for TPs. We will see, though, potentially Ashe or Reaper. So Baby Bay will actually, looks like he'll come out on the Symmetra. So they want to play the Symmetra here against the double shield.
All right, well, that makes sense, but Baby Bay's going to have to make good use of his single shield that he has. Rascal, wherefore art thou, Rascal? Completely nuked there at the start of the fight, focusing being caught him when he was a little bit low. If you fall below half health and there is an Echo looking for you, you best beware. And Baby Bay needs to be a little bit careful here of Ansan, who's obviously really the antithesis to Symmetra at long range.
Yeah, that'll be an amp matrix pretty quick here from Dogman, so he'll be able to provide some more heals and damage to that on the point. Is looking at Baby Bay getting all charged up on that sim, trying to find Ons, but Ons with the 2-shot takes him out.
He can't stay on this pick, Matt. It's just too risky. He only has 1 shield, and Gator wants to be swinging his hammer. Baby Bay is just going to get wrecked from long range if he doesn't have anything to stand behind. Something more static, perhaps. It's crazy that he's gone for this. This is hard mode for Symmetra.
Yeah, I mean, they are playing the Zarya with it, so trying to get, like, pretty aggressive, but yeah, that's a switch. So Baby Bay will play Ashe now. So this is the type of scenario we thought we would find ourselves in, with the Shock running double shield. Thought we would see the same from Atlanta, but we have seen some Zarya play today, though, when teams want to get aggressive.
I mean, Hawk versus Choikobin on the Sigma is the matchup I'm really hoping to see as this series goes. We're not going to get it right now, but when we do get it, it's going to be big. Baby Bay now this time has just the 1 shield. He's happy enough to stay behind that one. Gator's going to get dropped, lucky to be alive. It's going to get Immortality field there, thrown down by Dogman just at the right moment, but they still lose Baby Bay, and Super is forging ahead, looking for more opportunities. One to shatter, I'd say.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could play pretty aggressive if you are the Shock. You have the sound barrier, you have the shatter, but there's never really a reason to. You know that they have a grab on the other side, so you're just trying to bait that out, not have everybody play together.
Rascal close to a duplication here. Getting another Reinhardt could be pretty deadly. That's what it's going to be. Rascal gets knocked to the ground now. It's going to be an Immortality field and sound barrier committed. The Bob also benefiting from that.
Well, I was going to say, I was like, the grab brings the Bob in, and they're not able to really push it because the Bob is just putting down some damage. That'll be the Gravitic Flux of Hawk that doesn't get anything. No, Edison comes out of his clone, he'll be able to get Violet, but Super with a shatter towards the end. Atlanta finally able to break, but that was very close.
Yeah, Hawk put in a weird spot where the only thing he could Gravitic Flux was Rascal, who had just duplicated someone. So Rascal doesn't really get punished as a result of that at all. But Hawk there is able to finish the fight with a large amount of charge. He's going to need to keep it because it's 79-20. And the Shock coming back in off the back of surely what will be a Gravitic Flux opener.
Yeah, we'll see how Choi gets this Gravitic Flux off. It looks like everybody for Atlanta wants to play on the top of the stairs to the left. Potentially just trying to bait somebody down. That'll be a Bob that comes out from Baby Bay, and the Shock can just back up. They can let this go away. This will at least give time, though, for Gator to get towards his shatter, and then Dogman also his amp matrix.
Oh, there it is. That's the combo. Amplification matrix and fire strike. Wow, decimates the San Francisco Shock.
Yeah, and the Bob buys like 6-7 seconds of time to have Dogman build up to that, which they're able to put right in the choke point, and 1 fire strike is enough to do it. So Violet will have his now coming into this fight. We'll see if they can line this up as they start the approach.
Gator is going to give plenty of room here. This actually allows Choikobin, though, to line himself up for a decent Gravitic Flux that only actually catches Gator. Oh no, Baby Bay looked like he was in it as well, just behind him. Gator gets the Zarya bubble. Edison goes down, though. This is dangerous now for the Rain. Gator is swept aside, and the Atlanta Rain are able to catch up, at least in percentage, but losing Edison so early in the fight allowed Rascal to go over the top.
But they had to put so many resources into keeping Gator alive that they end up losing a few other players. Like, the Gravitic Flux goes up, Gator gets trapped in it, I believe Baby Bay as well. And then what they're looking down the barrel of is like Choyobin throwing Hyperspheres through an Amp Matrix, other damage coming down. They have to just pump heals into those guys, which doesn't give them the resources for the rest of the team.
There it is, Graviton
range.
No. Okay, well, didn't see that. Don't remember it. I'm erasing it from my brain. Hansan's able to find 2 kills. One was on the bomb, but we'll still count that. And now it's going to be a shatter here. May not be a chance, for Edison to actually get a shatter as the duplicated Reinhardt. No, he does get it, but he doesn't get it off properly. And it is a San Francisco Shock here to finish out the round with a commanding finish in that last fight.
The grab is not great. It's not good. But in defense of Hawk, it is the last fight. You see a bunch of people around that time. When are you going to have an opportunity to use it? You know they have a lot of ults. If you can get the grab early, allow yourself to entry and get 1 pick. It's almost like the situation with Nene in the playoffs last year. If it works, you win the fight. If it doesn't work, obviously you lose the point. But you're not able to do it.
Yeah, except at least Hawk didn't have his team knocked out of playoffs, missing it. So that's kind of good.
True.
All right, let's see if we see any changes. Yeah, Hawk back to the Sigma. I like it. I want to see more of that. I honestly don't know, you know, like how his size stacks up against it. We don't see much of it, but he just looks to be a cut above the rest. Maybe not Chokyobin, but the rest of the field on Sigma.
A lot of damage that went into the Atlanta Rain there.
Rascal's on a flank?
Yeah, he was up on the high ground and he actually threw a bunch of sticky bombs over the top and hit a lot of them and put a lot of damage down on Atlanta.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they're going to lose players out of some of this.
Ansan is still impressing us on any hit scan. Oh! It's happening again! Oh, gosh. Add more to that environmental kill tally because Hawk and Dogman, I mean...
You know, like, there's no assist there, so after we get crazy about it, we don't have to go on Twitter and be like, nobody talked about Smurf.
Listen, guys, I know that Smurf got a hold, all right? Yes, I didn't identify it immediately, but there you go.
That was Moth with speed running in, killing them. That was Ants drilling Baby in the head across the map, killing him. Now Atlanta just has to wait. I mean, you can't enter without the Ash.
Oh, bro. Baby Bay just got airmailed to the gulag. He now has to... Well, he's going to be a while before he joins with the rest of his team. That's like
his teammates didn't
10%.
buy him back. His teammates didn't buy him back.
Yeah, the Shock had the bounty on him, so it's all too easy. Moth is going to play around the middle of the map here, and I want to see if Rascal tries to go for any cheeky flanks. Can I get sticky bombs through this Ant Matrix, please? Just one order of them. Baby Bay. Oh, my Artson. Yep, combining nicely with Rascal there. And Baby Bay is struggling, Matt, to really get involved in any of these fights. And with him down and with no good sight lines, the Rain are getting zipped the heck up.
And I think what's kind of happening, though, is like Baby Bay needs to take some of these duels because they just need to pick Atlanta to go their way. Like, they're not really generating any type of offense or threat anywhere else. And if you lose the duel, you lose the duel. I mean, there's not really many other options. Like, I haven't seen anything else from Atlanta in terms of like setup that's resulted in them making any type of traction towards the point on this one.
Okay, Baby Bay this time going to play with the rest of his team and not take an off angle and just look for a pick, but you can't see much. Like, what are you shooting at? A shield can cover both sides of that pillar, so he has to be patient. Okay, so now the Shock go for a Gravitic Flux. Now, Baby Bay wants him to overextend into this a little bit. This Immortality found, and Aeronet Super drops the hammer. Rascal and Violet both knocked down, and Moth gets another one. Yeah, it's raining cats and dogmans on this map. He falls over the edge once more, and it's 99-0. The Atlanta Rain just might not be up to this task, Matt. San Francisco again continuing to show why they are considered the best Overwatch team in the world. Violet down. Okay, opportunities here for the Rain. Edison, huge lift. Couple quick kills, but Ansan with 3. And Edison has to run and hide. He's hit face first with an accretion and cannot touch the point. And the Atlanta Rain, I mean, it's all ashes, no Phoenix right now, Matt.
You know what I loved about that at the end from the Shock? Is Rascal copies the Batiste, so they have 2 Baps out there.
No.
When the Gravitic Flux comes in, 2 Immortality fields out everywhere. And then they also are able to rotate their Amp Matrixes, so Rascal uses his. And then right after Rascal uses his, Violet has another one, and they drop that one down. You're not living through that damage. It gives Ants such a big advantage in terms of damage output as well, instead of, opposite like Baby Bay trying to deal with it. He also has the benefit of being able to stand inside 2 Immortality fields, so not worried at all. Really nice setups there from the Shock on the first
what better position could you ask to be in with double amplification matrix there? I love that bit of creativity. A lot of Echo players default to sort of copying the main tanks or Brigitte in many cases. And Rascal, we know him as a Batiste player. You know what I mean? Like, there is no hero that he can't duplicate and be like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing right now. That is just crazy. Well,
you can play anything.
Map 1, Matt. That one is in the books, and that was a tough one for the Atlanta Rain now. We got to see Hawk play their Sigma against Chokyobin, but that wasn't the issue. It was very hard for Baby Bay to have the impact he was looking for. Now, the Rain have to quickly circle back to the drawing board and find out how they're going to answer this. Volskaya is map number 2, and it is coming up after these messages.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League.
I don't necessarily think that we have a mental edge over San Francisco Shock. I mean, I just think it was an accomplishment on its own to even be able to beat them and actually even be the only team to take a map off them in the entirety of the Overwatch League playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it'll be a good game regardless this weekend and overall over Shock.
Now, Matt, there probably aren't too many teams that Dogman is going to sort of exercise a lot of humility when talking about, but you can see that there's healthy respect for San Francisco as a team from him.
Yeah, I mean, the guy definitely has tons of respect for the Shock and everything they've done throughout the Overwatch League this far.
Yeah, I mean, they consider being able to, take a map off them quite an accomplishment here. They're going to have to do a little bit more than that, though, in this series now after the start that San Francisco have been able to get themselves here. Matt, Volskaya Industries is going to be the next map in this series, but San Francisco are not really exposing any weaknesses that we can sort of identify there. Echo play looks fresh, it looks creative, and their fundamentals look really, really solid. Super looks like he's very happy to be back on the field.
Well, he's also now off of the field for map number 2.
Oh, is that why you sounded so sad?
Yeah, as Smurf will come in and play for Super. This probably tells you they want to play potentially some Winston at times on top of the Reinhardt, maybe Wrecking Ball. We've seen some Wrecking Ball today. So just that's the only change happening for both teams. So Atlanta goes with the same exact roster yet again. And then for the Shock, we see Smurf come in. Everything else stays the same.
You have to think, Matt, that the Shock want to play like a dive defense on Volskaya, like we've seen sort of a fair bit in the past with the Winston.
Yeah, potentially. Look, you can Smurf can still play Rhine. Like Super's just the preferred option in the Reinhardt. So,
sure.
It could be like for a specific point of the map, right? For maybe point B, they want Winston, and then they're going to run Rhine the rest of the way. You want to play Smurf in that type of situation, etc. Play like Smurf can play a little bit of a. Yeah, I mean, really, I think it's just for the Winston and the ball. I don't even really think it's for the ball. I think it's more for Winston in certain situations here.
All right, well, we'll see if that's the case from San Francisco. Recently in the Overwatch League, especially with certain hero pools available, we've seen teams be very successful by playing Winston on defense as a sort of dive or counter-dive comp, because you are, by default, awarded high ground. The enemy team, and that's the structure of many assault maps, is that attacking teams have to start inherently from a low ground position. That's why people on Temple of Anubis always try and get onto that bridge, that center platform, because they want to shrug off the disadvantage the map sort of hits them with from the beginning.
Right, so defense, you'll see Atlanta start out here with Winston. It makes total sense to access the high ground, be aggressive as a team, etc. You don't want to lose high ground. The Shock, though, they don't have to play the Winston if they don't want to on their offense. You could play a slower game and try and get high ground playing like a Ryan and get Ons in a position where he can just pop up on the Ashe. Or you can play a Winston and try and go in quicker. We'll see what they decide to do. They'll go with a Winston-based composition here. They'll actually almost mirror Atlanta. It looks like just a difference in supports. And then Ons now playing the Widow, looking for a pick onto Edison. He gets him about half.
And he's going to stay on the Widow as well. This is unconventional by our current standards, which in fairness change every single week. Ansan is going to head and flank on this Widowmaker. This is incredibly ballsy.
You could get caught out here, though, if you're Atlanta, because a lot of teams do the Widow at the start and then go back and switch off of it. You haven't seen Ansan in a while, so you don't know where he is or what he's playing.
Okay, he's giving himself away, but the Rain don't actually really have the freedom to do anything about him right now. Okay, and Arsus backs up. So the Rain give a bunch of ground, and the Widow there for the Shock did help. We still need to see value there for Ansan. Well, Rascal finds Edison, so that's a good start. There's not going to be any Echo to threaten the Widow. Now when Masa, very lucky to still be alive. Answers have to back away. That actually takes Gator's attention for quite some time. And if he's keeping a Winston busy, I think the Shock are happy with that, while Rascal goes to work on the rest.
And you may say, like, well, don't they lack damage, potentially, the Shock, right? Playing the Widowmaker in combination with the Echo, like, the Ashe provides better consistent damage. But because you have the Zenyatta in play, you're good, right? The Discord Orb and the extra damage that Zen just provides, you're in a great position.
Oh my, I don't think the Rain knew what to do about the Widow, because they sent Gator in alone to try and deal with Ants, and he got picked up because Tricobin went for a bit of a peel play. I mean, the numbers definitely favor the Shock right now. And the fact that Rascal has the audacity to copy the Ash when he could have picked anything else says a lot about the Shock's confidence here.
Yep, he copies the Ash, he gets a dynamite kill, throws it at Bob, picks up a few kills at the end.
That is styling.
You almost think the hero was made for him, right? Which is how diverse his hero pool is. Across multiple roles, right?
Sorry, headphone users. That is actually just absurd, his choice of target there. That means he's under no pressure whatsoever to pick anything specific to help his team win the fight. He can do whatever he wants. He's playing quick play right now. Smurf into the back line, though. Okay, is knocked off course. That was nicely done by Master. I think a whip shot to prevent that from happening, but
they got Edison
down
though.
again.
There
oh,
goes
no!
Taco.
Smurf trying to get into the cookie jar again is denied. Okay, has to pop Primal Rage there. Isn't able to prevent Master from stepping out onto the point, but it's already one ticket. This could be a little ugly. Smurf wisely opts not to commit there with a Brig in the backline and a potential sleep dart. And that's so smart. The Shock are a cut above right now. They are 10 steps ahead, playing a different game. They're smurfing in the Overwatch League, Matthew.
That was crazy there from the Shock. That is so fast. Ons on the Widowmaker, setting it up at the end with the pick onto Edison. Swift headshot takes him out. Then Smurf and the rest of the gang deal with Hawk. So they get it with 4 minutes and 29 seconds remaining. What does Atlanta do in response here? I mean, do you put Baby Bay on Widow if Ons plays the Widow? Or are you gonna try and because Ash wins a lot of the long-range duels against like McCree is 76. Although 76 is a little bit more annoying to deal with in terms of the consistent damage, but against Widow in the long-range duels, she does not.
I mean, okay, so the Atlanta Reign have 2 kills from that round. Bit of a tough one for them. Rascal has 6 himself. Rapidly approaching Flutter Deadlift territory in terms of his contribution to overall kills. His echo play, I mean, we talked about it last week. We kind of like ideated that he was the dream echo player, right? Or at least one of them. I'd say like there's a good case to be made for Dante to be a top echo player as well. He just gives you everything you want. Finally, there's actually a space for someone who's not a specialist necessarily, but plays everything incredibly well to do that and actually amplify the impact he can have as an echo player.
Oh, without a doubt. So the Shock will play the Widow again on defense. Some people may ask, well, why the Brigitte in combination with the Ana? Well, the Brig allows for a little bit more point stall and point control because let's say if the tanks wanted to go and pressure the Ash up on the high ground, you can still have the Brig with the survivability play the point and contest.
It's extra insurance against Winston dives and stuff like that, or any sort of flanking. Because you know that there could be extra Winstons because of Echo as well, and you just want to try and protect your backline from an extra jump threat that would exist. So Gator, speaking of which, he's looking to go in, and Baby Bay opens up the account with Rascal to start with. This is very good for Atlanta now. Do they have the defense they're looking for? Hopefully better defense than the Falcons this year. Gator a little bit low. Master not looking much better either. Okay, not bad for them now. They can take a breath and let Baby Bay get into position. This is good.
I think he's trying to find where is On, since he's coming from the side. Now he's given his position up, but he's going to be able to take out Ons.
That's great. Baby Bay was pretty much put on a mission this round to shut down 2 of the scariest players in the league, and he gets them both. Very well done, but is it enough for Atlanta? But Choyobin finding 2 kills, there'll be a little bit of extra stall able here, and the Primal Rage is only going to add to it.
They're not going to turn
this. I can't believe it. 3 kills from him. The Shock was severely short-handed in that fight, and Choyobin just cut through them like they were nothing.
Severely short-handed. It was a 3v5.
That is...
what a comeback there from the Shock. You see the tanks just running back to the healers like, okay, let's all get together. The Rain don't even get a tick.
This is a different level of dominance than what we're used to seeing, especially right now where all of our teams have to adjust week by week to the meta. We don't see a ton of this, but we see a bit of it in the Chinese region, to be fair. I have my own opinions on why that actually occurs, but the Atlanta Reign, really? San Francisco making them look like... I mean, they're making them look like plats right now. It's not pretty.
Nice sleep
Baby
there
Bay
from
loses
Violet.
his bob off the edge. And a sleep there on Gator. Rascal now's going to copy to Winston, and this has gone from a competition to an all-out massacre.
Yes, Rascal now will take out Masa here as he has to retreat, as Atlanta has not been able to get anything going thus far, so Gator on the Winston with Hawk on the Sigma is interesting. Do they want to go and play something a little bit slower? Like, there isn't a ton of synergy between the Sigma and the Winston.
All right.
So now you will get obviously a static shield up on the high ground for like Baby Bay, but I actually thought this probably would have been the answer at the start of the round. Let Baby Bay match the Widow of Ans.
I mean,
try and go at it.
This is what he does. Okay, so I think he spots Ans but realizes he can't.
He knew that he had the walls, and then to obviously deny him just hitting the headshot through it, he just turned his back and just looked at the ground.
So the walls slow the rain down. It also tips Ans off about the Widowmaker's presence now in advance. Nance gonna play inside, try and play safe. Smurf, nano boosted, but still loses a percentage of his health, not a set amount when he gets dropped there in the Gravitic Flux. But Gator's down. The Atlanta Rain, this fight's already over for them.
Is how Rascal's able to get out with his life, as Smurf just going in, pushing a little bit further, as he's gonna be able to get out to safety. As 3 players trying to run him down. So Atlanta with 1 fight left. All you have is your Edison duplicate here. For the shock, you have to rally, which is going to be big to get everybody armored up. Very difficult to take it out. Baby Bay is going to have to hit a few headshots here to open this up for the Rain.
Atlanta, beaten, battered, but not broken. A chance to stay alive in this map, and that's all they can hope for right now. Ansan in a very comfortable position, safe as a house. And he'll have a good little bit of warning if he's going to get pushed. Edison's down already, though. Edison was trying to flank around. Rascal is noticing that, but Baby Bay finds him. Okay, Echo's down for both sides now. It's Widows and front lines that go to work, but they can't dodge! Oh!
No!
Oh, no! Insult and injury in equal measure for the Atlanta Rainers. I mean, they go even in... Oh, no, dude. Oh, my. That is so rough.
We got to see that one again. I don't know how that one happened.
Oh.
As Baby Bay just types LOL as he's laughing about how his Bob went off the side. Yeah, his Bob just booked it off the side. His Bob didn't even want to play for Atlanta. That one, he was like, I'm out. He's like, don't. He saw what happened with a Gator and Hawk going in there. He's like, I ain't running into that. He's like, I'm great.
Bob Sports sees that he's in red and silver, and he's like, peace.
Oh yeah, he sees Gator and Hawk all bruised up. He's like, yeah, I'll just run this one for a bit.
Oh man. I mean,
oh man, what an odd ending to Volskaya.
I did not expect to see this at all. You know, so far, every time we spent the whole start of this game with like a big, like connections presented by Xfinity, a big throwback, and
yeah.
I mean, we're constantly reminded, I think, of just how in flux the state of the league is and how these teams are. I mean, the Bob running off the map is just. I saw it on the kill feed, right?
Yeah,
and so you can. That's really unfortunate. And Baby Bay, he really needed the Bob at that point as well.
I mean, yeah, that's why they kind of have to switch to the Widow. I actually think he could have made a big difference playing the Widow at the start. He started to get some picks towards the end. Dons even had the Infrasight. You're able to wait that out, and then really it was like an even duel in terms of the Widow, which could have made a difference on Volskaya a little bit earlier on.
Oh, I feel like someone has just reached down my throat and pulled out my spleen seeing that. It was tough, and the rain...
That's kind of gruesome.
No, it is.
I don't feel that way for the public.
I feel gutted. I feel gutted, you know?
I feel exactly how as I felt before.
But see, that's why no one asks you how you feel, Matt, because it's not interesting.
Well, I have no emotion. I'm a stone cold killer.
I mean, so with a shock right now, Matt.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. There'll be some time for the Rain now to collect themselves and talk some strategy, but that may not be the issue. We're going to head to our halftime break and see what our experts at the desk have to say. I need a breather too. We'll see you in a couple moments.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, helping you stay connected to what matters most. Learn about T-Mobile's COVID-19 response on T-Mobile.com. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renter's insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And one last time, welcome to our game break presented by Pringles. Wavy, Zoe here, joined by Costa and Reinforce. And, well, what can I say? This one is a little tough to watch. I'm not going to lie. I did actually hope against all odds that the Atlanta Reign is going to put up more of a fight, but this is a very one-sided affair. And you, Reinforce, actually called it. You expected this match to be a quick one.
You know, I put it out there certainly as an idea that it could be one-sided. True.
Take it.
Okay, I shall
take
it. I mean, I too wanted Atlanta Reign to put up a bit of a fight because this was the title card, in my opinion, right? This was going to be the match today that really lived up to the hype, but it really hasn't. So it raises some big concerns for the Atlanta Reign. But the San Francisco Shock, they look dominant. They look like they might be the best team in the league. And I actually ranked them #1 in my power rankings going into this week because I think they've been so dominant. But I got a lot of flack for that. A lot of people complained. They were like, no, Philadelphia Fusion is the best team in the league. So looking at this performance right here, one just has to wonder. Like, San Francisco Shock, they have to be the best team in the league, right? And I think the May tournament is going to be very exciting to see who is going to come out on top. But in my mind, like, the San Francisco Shock are on fire this match, and they're playing so well.
Yeah, and
I need to ask though, what do you guys think is going on with the Atlanta Reign? Like, why is there such a lack of resistance? Is this a hero pool kind of issue, or just they seem scattered and a little bit all over the place?
I don't think this is a great meta for the Atlanta Reign. They're covered in a lot of ways, but when you pair it up against the San Francisco Shock, right? You think Rascal on the Echo, obviously phenomenal. Arns on a hit scan like Ashe, Widow, that's great. You have Choi on the Sigma. There's so many things going for this team in this meta, and I think that's why they're absolutely thriving. But the question becomes then, what isn't the Shock good at? Well, I think cracks are starting to show for the Atlanta Reign of things that they can't 100% be at full force on.
Well, you just mentioned Rascal, as he has been having a great game once again on his Echo, and that's why he made it into Crunch Time, presented by Pringles Wavy. He had some great moments all around, but one stood out in particular, and that one would be Costa?
Yeah, so this was highlighted by Mitch in the match as well. It's just, we don't really see people turn into the Ashe very often, but we saw Rascal here as the Echo turn into the Ashe, walk in, get an absolutely enormous dynamite, get a bob. I don't think I've ever seen a bob so bright. Obviously not Baby Bay's, unfortunately the one in the water. But this is just sort of highlighting how good Rascal has been at the Echo. He has such a good and deep hero pool that he can pretty much turn into anything and thrive at it. And this is why he's the leading person. Not only this one, he had countless plays in this match. So when you look at the current resurgence of the Shock, you have to highlight the Echo for Rascal.
Yeah, and he's actually done this a few times as well. We've seen him in the past duplicate into Ashe. So it's a very interesting pick, because I do think you can get a lot of value as Ashe when you duplicate from an Echo, because you can sort of go a bit ham. You're not really risking your life, because you will always go back to that Echo form later on. So it's quite an interesting pick, and I do think you can charge up with that Bob. It's a very consistent pick, so I kind of like it. Trendsetter.
I need to know, though, what is going a bit ham? I figured that if you go ham, you're going ham. But if you're going a bit ham, like...
Never go full ham, you know?
Never go...
If you go full ham, you're going to be like Bob off the edge.
What's that, a quarter sandwich?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know the in-between. I'm struggling here. I did go full ham a few times in my career, and then I stopped, and I don't know where the middle is, but... that is what he is doing.
Okay.
As I said,
sometimes
trendsetter.
Things should just be...
Oh, God.
Right. Well, put you on the spot there. I'm sorry, but I did wonder.
Good question.
Now we are wondering if we can actually see the Atlanta Reign coming back into this. Junkertown is up next.
Ooh.
What do you guys want to see from them?
That's a hard one. I think this is going to force the meta that we just saw in Volskaya with the Widow, with the Echo, probably some more double shield. We saw it a little bit earlier in the day on Junkertown, so I don't expect too much difference, so I think I'm going to need a stylistic change of that current meta for the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, you have to start winning at least one duel.
I mean,
that is all I will say. Okay, you have to, you have to win some kind of matchup, because right now Atlanta are losing all kinds of matchups in the game, and you need to find one advantage, one duel you can sort of focus on and expose, and find that, and maybe you can start turning it back.
Yeah.
Well, and if not, we're just going to be right back in a jiffy. So let's see if they can bring it home, or if the Shock is going to end up running away with that W. We'll find out in just a second, and for that we're going to head back over to Uber and Mr. X. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Yep, shock. San Francisco are all over it today, Matthew, now as we come back from our halftime break. The Atlanta Reign are struggling to keep up. And as we sort of heard from, Custer, I think at the break, he said that he didn't feel like this hero pool really suited the Atlanta Reign that well. But at the end of the day, only 4 heroes got taken out of rotation. Only 4. Yeah, and they're still struggling.
Right. It is a very good hero pool. You think, though, for the shock, potentially on this next map, though, anything can happen. It's Junkertown. We've seen crazy upsets here before.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco, again, continuing to put on some good results, but Junkertown's always been a kind of map where teams can sort of run away with their results, on the first point and snowball that into like a quick map completion. And, it can give us some sort of results outside of what we expect. Just want to take an opportunity as well to thank all of you guys that are watching at home. We just hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is fantastic. So
500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's did I not say that? Yeah, 500,000.
Oh, you said 100,000.
No,
I was like 100,000. We blew past that already.
500,000. I could have said it wrong. I don't think I did. So thank you guys so much. And let's see if we can make it 1 million in the future. But yeah, appreciate your support, guys. We're happy to be here and keep this league rolling with you guys alongside of us. So, okay, so for fans of the Atlanta Reign, Matt, where are the bright spots? Or where are the potential bright spots, things you want to see from them that could change their fortunes here?
Probably you're going to have to see Baby Bay play Widowmaker here on Junkertown. Like, I think Ons probably plays the Widow. I think the sightlines are really long. You could play Ashe, but I think it really kind of tends more towards the Widowmaker, and especially if you're going to play Widow on Volskaya, you probably play it on Junkertown.
You play it everywhere, bro.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna play it on Junkertown.
You play it Lee Jung Control Center, bro.
I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to.
I've seen links to do it way back at earlier Overwatch days, but I mean, only a few people could get away with that kind of stuff.
And then I think Hawk more on the Sigma. I think Hawk Sigma, very good. They ran like Sigma Winston on Volskaya, which wasn't that effective. Super comes back in for the Shock. So that tells you this would probably be more Reinhardt focused here on Junkertown.
All right, well, that is it. Junkertown is going to be our next map in this series. We're just waiting for the two teams to get themselves ready. And during the break, there was a lot of joking going on. I expected there to be quite a lot of talk across these two teams, but Baby Bay was actually just making fun of himself. And, and the bomb that he said off the map, and I hope the replay really captured that in all of its glory. It was unfortunate because
you gotta believe
little to the left, it would have been fine.
You gotta believe Bob though is smarter than that to just run off the side.
Is he though?
Like just from like a realism perspective. Like, I mean, he's an AI. He's smart enough to lock onto targets and shoot.
Yeah,
he should know not to just run into his death.
I mean, that is true, but also he's very obedient, right? And if Ashe tells Bob to go that way, he has to do it. Maybe that's in his programming as well, you know? He might have AI, but he might not have the freedom to make his own decisions inside of that, Matt. That's the thing you got to consider. Does Bob have free will? Who knows?
You don't know.
I hope so. But what happens if Bob
he was made by the Delos Corp, he probably would have free will.
Well, that's the thing. Is Bob strictly an Omnic?
We don't know.
Who knows? You know, maybe he just really wants to do the right thing. I mean, that's a lot of existential questions for us to answer. And
he just needs to become awakened. Bob.
That's right. And then he can control the other Bobs and make them do what he wants or freeze them all in time. Yeah.
Woke Bob. Get it started, guys.
I mean, it's 2020. Bob's got to get woke at some point, right? The world's just going to leave him behind.
Right? He's just running around to his death. So Bob's better than that.
That's right.
Widowmaker on both sides. Not too surprised. The Zenyatta's to provide a little bit of extra shield break, extra damage with Widow in the mix. So this is what you expected also from the tanks when you saw Super in the lineup. Reinhardt combined with the Sigma.
I mean, this is what I paid for. I didn't pay anything, but if I had paid, this is what I would have paid for. Widowmaker head-to-head on Junkertown. Just like the old days, baby. It's Baby Bay versus Ansan Sniper. And I'm getting memories of like Fleta versus Linksa battles on this map, like those crazy Outlaws Seoul Dynasty games. Let's see if we get something that resembles that. Both teams are essentially the same compositions here, so no real big differences. Again, the off-angle Sigma play seems to be considered by many to be the most effective, and Hawk is definitely, he definitely did miss geometry class.
I mean, Sigma's got a lot of personal survivability. His Super just kind of gets burst down, as then Discord on him, some extra damage to the front, and then as soon as the beam comes in, he's disintegrated. The Atlanta Reign have gotten a lot of cart progress here for relatively nothing. Super comes back on the Wrecking Ball, just trying to get a touch.
No, Super! Here he comes, rolls on in. Rascal down to Edison, so it's 2-0 in kills right now for the Reign. They do lose Master there, but Baby Bay is in a good spot. Super hasn't really been paying much attention to Violet. Violet finds a couple kills, but Baby Bay a quick double, and the poison might catch a Super as he tried to escape. Nice little couple piece, but now it's the 1v1. Baby Bay, come and get me, baby! And he doesn't. Baby Bay knows he can't walk up to Moth, and so Moth single-handedly stalls the card. Oh, you're kidding me, dude.
And he gets rid of the mine, and now everybody's back at it again. As Baby Bay will pop the walls here.
Moth has the biggest orbs I've ever seen, Matt. That was quite the play.
Well, let's be real. He crouched and hid, but it was the right decision though, to crouch and hide.
Oh, man. All right, Edison going to wrap around here. Rascal does go down again, but Accretion, that's dangerous now for Edison. Where does he get his healing from? It's a Discord orb, so it'll take some time. So far, so good, though, and Ansan has had a very slow round. He found Baby Bay just now, and as I say, he finds Dogman, but there needs to be staying power here on the point, and there, frankly, is none for the shot.
Yeah. And I think Super probably changes up. This goes back to the Reinhardt, although you are giving up 72%. Yeah, they'll bring the Rein back in. So They did a nice job extending it for a little bit, but really good point A take from the Atlanta Reign. Early pickoff on the Super allows him to get a lot of cart progress, and then after that, it's just one fight, and it's not even really a great fight. It's one that's kind of just broken up into 2 parts, lots of staggering from both teams, but Atlanta's able to win it.
Super in a comfortable little alcove for the time being. He could contest the cart whilst exposing as little of his incredibly muscular form as possible. And Arns likes to be here. He's got a nice little perch, and he's just waiting for Baby to show himself. Been a while since we've really got to talk about counter-sniping at late.
Yeah. Just running up the stairs. That'll be the Ant-Matrix. You back up out of this as Choi's gotten a great
this position.
Oh, it's Rascal.
Switching to the Sigma, the Hyperspheres do giga damage. Everyone's in that low room. That is rough. Rascal is just going to score the rain on every single hero in Overwatch.
So I saw Choi on the left side high ground, and I was like, oh yeah, he wrapped around, he got even better position, but you had 2 Sigmas up on the high ground. One directly where Violet's standing now, and then one from Rascal's POV, where the double shields from the Sigmas up there, you had a Gravitic Flux come down. There's nothing you can do if you're the Atlanta Reign there.
That is brilliant. Another different switch. Now Rascal actually chooses to duplicate a more conventional target, but it's the manner in which he does it that's so clever. He picks his duplication, presumably because of the fact that Atlanta Reign were playing in a small alcove. That's crazy. Anyway, I'll stop gushing. Super's going to be, well, yeah, he's going to struggle. Edison now going to be duplicating his Sigma as well. Immortality Field is up right now, and that increase will catch Choke open, but the Transcendence comes to the rescue. Mock on the Zen. You love to see it.
As they're going to live through this to Shock, and they're going to be able to fight at least on this corner as see Kinetic Grasp out for Choi, just trying to back up. That's a big win for Baby. He's able to take out On, so just getting that sniper out of the equation, big for the Atlanta Reign, but Violet with a headshot on Edison takes him out.
That is gigantic. Another big kill for Violet. He got 2 quick kills on that first point fight that really helped turn it around. To Rascal then doesn't have to do too much right now, and Shvikobin can't keep himself alive from the shield. Baby just punishing. Air shot, that would have been so nice. He gets the damage and he has to back away now. That Ant-Matrix is really going to hurt him. But Rascal gets ahead of himself, man. That payload, she's still moving.
Yeah, it's moving at a pretty good pace as well as the Atlanta Reign with about 2 minutes to get the car right here to the corner as Baby types easy in the chat.
Yes!
But that's what I love, though. I love that about Atlanta. If you're going to talk trash at the beginning of the series, even when you lose, you still gotta talk trash, even in your small moments of victory. Like, the easiest way to get in somebody's head as a player is if they talk trash and then they lose and they don't talk trash, and then you just keep kind of like egging them on. It tilts players like crazy. So Atlanta showing that they have the mental to barrel on through, although it's been a rough series.
I did warn people that there would be some trash talk. Super nice. He's just gotten Dogman and Master there with a nice shatter, but wasn't able to follow up quickly enough to prevent Master from getting the Transcendence. So that shatter, honestly, then looks pretty, I mean, yeah.
But you trade the shatter for another shatter and Transcendence. So you trade that ult 2 for 1.
Look, sometimes you have to replace the A with an I in shatter if it doesn't work out. That one was wishful.
But it accomplished kind of what it wanted to do. The Masa used Transcendence, Gator used his Shatter. So you really, I mean, oh, that is a nasty headshot for Baby. But we'll see if the Shock are able to even get any type of control for the rest of this map as Atlanta's just kept it rolling.
All right, Arns, quick double for him, headshot on Masa. Payload slowing up a little bit as no one is actually there to push it. Super's playdate hasn't gone quite as he planned. He's just going to keep that shield up for now. Take a bit of damage. Yeah, the Reign in the blink of an eye lost all of their damage sources. And wait a minute, did Hawk?
No, it was Edison. Edison was running out of his duplicate and just needed to use his Gravitic Flux or else he would have lost it.
But it got cancelled by the duplicate anyway, yeah. All right, Matt, it's about Baby here. He needs to find some of these picks. A minute 38 still left. Plenty of time on a map like this.
Baby just trying to find an angle here. He has no idea where Ons is. Ons just playing all the way in the back behind the shield. Can't go there, Baby.
He's playing pretty sneaky beaky. It looks like he prefers not to expose himself if he can help it at all.
Well, I think he's just trying to find a sightline on anybody, whether it be somebody coming out of the spawn through one of the windows. That'll be Choi trying to get his Gravitic Flux off as gets a little bit of damage on some players, but you lose Rascal who had the duplicate.
Yeah, I mean, geographically, that's an awful position for the Shock to play from. They had a huge disadvantage in taking max Hyperspheres damage, and Yeah, wishful thinking with the Gravitic Flux. Hawk's going to go for one of his own now. Baby starting to camp spawn. Rascal peeks his head out for just a moment, and it is sheared off. Shadow for Gator, no connection there. Discord orb on him, he's a little low. And it isn't going to matter. Baby really stepping up here on the Widow. He has 10 final blows to his name. To Ansan Snipers, well, 4.
Then that's what I was talking about coming into the game, and what I want to see them do on Volskaya. Like, Baby is a very good Widowmaker player. Somebody, once he starts to get going, the guy is so confident, it just kind of starts to snowball in his team's favor. And, you know, he played really well there towards the end. Helps Atlanta complete the map with 45 seconds.
This is why the Atlanta Reign picked Baby up. This is what he does. And Baby knows what it's like to sit on the bench, you know, surrounded by a very good team. He did that with the Shock for quite some time. He has grown into a player now that could really shift the balance when it comes to close maps like this. And Atlanta really need him right now. Atlanta fans really need him to keep firing up and popping off like this. 26 scope critical hits, by the way. It's actually an equal number to Ansan Sniper. He's just able to complete these kills crucially. And
well, Widowmaker is one hero that, and I think that's one of the more exciting heroes to watch, just because of the solo game-changing potential. When a Widowmaker is like really like hitting those headshots and popping off, there's not really much you can do about it. You have to change your whole composition to deal with it. I think that's why she's one of the more exciting heroes to watch, exciting heroes to play, just because you can really take the game into your own hands.
45 seconds. That's what the Atlanta Reign have to work with now after a successful attack. Ants, can he step up to the plate here? He'll have to be a Herculean performance, because you get on hot streaks as Widowmakers, and if you have to play up against that, against the Widowmaker that's got some momentum, it can feel kind of oppressive to do so. The Reign really...
It's not a bad time from Atlanta at all, because Junkertown is quite odd. We see, you know, some fast times in the past with different types of compositions, but really with this, you know, even seeing a map completion is pretty good for that team. So to get just the completion, even with some time in the bank, is great for the Atlanta Reign.
Troy, oh my! Perfect Discord orb and headshot applied at almost the same time, and Troy Coburn went from, well, full health to none very, very quickly. Off angle denied, and now the Reign can start to solidify this defensive position.
Yeah, Baby can lock down these off angles, right? Like if Troy's gonna come around the corner, he's gonna get dinged with a headshot, has to back on up. Allows Edison to take some of that 1v1s against Rascal a little bit easier, as both of the Echoes just putting some shots into each other.
And Rascal, again, returns to the off angle with Troy Coburn. This time, Kinetic Grasp was used beforehand, so Troy Coburn has a bit of extra shielding, and Hawk, all it took was just getting clipped by that focusing beam, and he goes down. And that was very clever from Rascal. He gets some sticky bombs in behind Gator's shield. There was no chance he could escape there. And
so much burst. There's so much burst damage in these compositions right now. Like, between the Echo beam below 50%, Baptiste, the Sigma, the Zen, Widowmaker, like, you're out of position for a few seconds and you are dead. I mean, you saw how fast Hawk was taken care of there. And it was really just like sticky bombs, a Discord, a few shots, and then the beam. That's
Matt,
it.
the only person on the Shock right now, Matt, that's doing more damage than Violet is Rascal. He is doing double Dogman's damage when it comes to the Batiste play. And you can see how that sort of manifests here. You know, a lot of Batiste obviously maybe aren't always thinking about that left click, but Violet has it held down in between healing bursts, and he is becoming a legitimate DPS threat alongside the rest of those offense heroes. Ants gets smashed by Baby, and Baby has time to type a question mark in chat before ripping Super's head off too. How does he do it?
He's just trying to get it onto his head at this point.
It's
like, I mean, that's how you play Widow. You win a few duels, talk some smack, and then hopefully you turn that into a few more duels and not kind of wake the other person up and start to get dunked on, as Rascal going really high up. Looking for a pick on Edison, gets him low, finishes him off with a beam.
Yeah, see, Rascal doesn't put a question mark in chat. He probably should, though. Now he's up behind the Reign and he gets nice little sticky bombs, but needs to be careful. The cart's moving this whole time. The Reign might not be aware. Maybe they are now that Super has shown himself. The Reign are out of position here. The risk of getting pincered. And here's the Transcendence from Mock. He's been pretty ready to use them early in these fights. And Baby's looking for Ant to get some again. He got the drop on his opponent and wins the Widow duel once more. Gator is down though, so now Edison has to take his place as a duplicated Reinhardt with a faster Shadow. That's pretty filthy. But Rascal's able to fire back here. Gets the copy, tries to go for a gravitic flush, chase Dogman down. There was no time for it to be saved, and Rascal couldn't escape the accretion. Choyhoven tries to get there, but he's a long way from the cart, man.
No, and I mean, I was going to say, I don't think this is winnable, but now you have some players coming back for the shock. You deal with Edison, that's a lot of damage off the table for the Atlanta Reign. Discord Orb on Gator, you see how low he is. Super just swinging into it.
Yeah, Super playing aggressive, but okay, he didn't have much backup until just now. Arns is still working on repositioning currently, so there's not really any damage dealers in place. Rascal just arrived as well, but Super has a Shadow. Please do it on the drop down. Please let this be Sparta of today.
Just trying to find an angle, tries to get it around the corner. No, does not work. This time Ons gets the better of Baby Bay though.
Yeah, wins that fight out, and he has the sickest sightlines to work with here, and Dogman walks straight into that one. Yeah, not much can be done late in the fight if a Widow is pretty much unchallenged on the high ground, and that's all the shot need to do, and that's what they haven't been doing. Arns has not been getting free reign at all. He's up to 8 final blows, Baby Bay 16.
Yeah, I mean, Baby Bay's had a tremendous map. Obviously, we've seen him have some standout performances in the past, but this one has been extra good from Baby Bay. As really, every time Atlanta's needed a pick, he's come up with it. As Ons takes out Edison, so now this will slow things down for the Reign, as now Ons is starting to come alive.
Ons is starting to, well, just because of the way that the map is sort of structured, it's a little bit harder for Baby Bay to find, like, good sightlines that are safe, and how does he find that pick? That's gross. Baby Bay now can play an off angle here as Widowmaker, or just play from the high ground, interrupt Super. Look at this, he's spoiled for choice and can't decide where to shoot. Okay, Immortality Field actually thrown down there by Violet. And we'll see in a moment Arns return to the fray here. He will have that recon visor, but Baby Bay just ruins Violet now. He's taken over this game as Widowmaker.
And that's the power of Widowmaker, able to really kind of take their team in solo carry at times, but it's going to be Choi getting Hawk, Super getting Gator. It'll be a transcendence from Moth to keep everybody alive as the shock now starting to storm towards the end. Rascal sitting up on that high ground, has that duplicate, and Violet with it. Ant Matrix potentially to use here with Ons. Could be bad for the Atlanta Reign.
Matt Moth has got that baby bottle, and he has just jammed it into Super's mouth. Every time the Reinhardt gets low, he comes sailing through on the Zenyatta with a Transcendence.
Double Baptiste.
Oh my god, so much immortality. That is crazy. Someone let the shot get the Philosopher's Stone, and now they're going to be punished for it. Chokoven finds Massa. Edison falls out of his duplication. And the Reign aren't allowed to touch the point. 2 minutes and 3 plays 1 minute in time banks.
Just look at how he uses the duplicate when he takes the Baptiste. Like, you have the immortality field for yourself, you have the self-heal for yourself. Baptiste's damage is good, and then he puts down the Ant Matrix, puts a few shots in it. Super gets low. What does he do? Just turns around, fires some heals right through it. He burst heals him right back up to full HP. So Baptiste definitely has to be considered one of the better targets to duplicate.
Let me try and put this in perspective a little bit more, I guess. Violet has about the same amount of damage as Baby Bay. So Baby Bay, obviously, Widowmaker is more towards getting, solo kills and not general damage done, but Baby Bay got 19 final blows, 19.
But that's not like out of the ordinary for Baptiste to have like high damage, right? I mean, Baptiste has a ton of offensive capabilities.
I say that because Dogman has half of that right now. So both of these teams have had plenty of time to play. Dogman is focused on being more defensive, right? He actually has a lot more healing than Violet, and that could also be because the Reign copped a bit more of a beating. But yeah, he's like 5k more healing, like 33% more. So it might speak a little bit more to the focus of those individuals and their style. But Dogman, we know him as a super aggressive Zen player. He loves to take, aggressive peaks, but he's being outdone in the damage department quite significantly.
I think though it's much different, like the damage on Zen versus the damage on Baptiste. Sure. Because with Zen, you're considered the off healer, right?
Yes.
When you have the Baptiste, you're obviously the main healer doing a lot in AoE, as that'll be on with a headshot on Amasa. So you don't have the luxury of not kind of being the one responsible of keeping everybody alive like the Zen. The Zen, you kind of throw your orb on 1 or 2 targets, like you kind of move it around. And then it's really just about discords and pumping out damage. For the Baptiste, like you're in charge of your immortality, window, self-heal, right? Positioning with the boost jump. There's a lot more that goes into it.
Last time around, we saw this, the shock on defense. Arns didn't get good angles at all. He couldn't do anything, but Master just died.
They can't Masa again.
Okay, they get Moth at the very least. So the Zenyatas are traded out. Now the Batistas have to step up. Maybe Violet can't do as much damage. Maybe focuses more on healing. Either way, it's 5v5, but the rain spawn a little bit closer. Edison looks to flank around, narrowly being missed by Arns. And Baby's about to appear on the right side of the screen and try and get some Widow shots around Super and Choi Hyobin's shields. Both of whom are a little low. Choi Hyobin increasing, trying to back away as quickly as he can. And now the shot get aggressive. Super! Oh, there it is! Huge shatter, find 3. It might not be enough though. He goes down to a fire strike from Gator and it's traded back and forth. Violet's down once more and Choi is also missing, but Rascal trying to step up. Baby has to find the kill. He gets Arns. Still needs to do with a duplicated Sigma and almost finds the kill on the Lucio, but Moth writes him down. Rascal plays around the shield perfectly. Comes out of duplication with full health and the shock hold off the rain. And that is some fun Overwatch, Matt.
The shatter from Super is huge. Where I thought for a second he was going to shatter them. They weren't going to be able to extend overtime because they had to back around the corner because of the Ant Matrix. But they're able to get up, contest in time. Moth on that switch from the Zen over to Lucio at the end to get back in time also gives them the ability to put some pressure on the Baby, move some players around, displacement. But Rascal again, man, another duplicate, this time of Sigma, and he plays around the shield so well.
I don't know, man. That was crazy. Just staying alive with such a small amount of health, you know, it was just Rascal's micro there as well, managing to hang around in that fight. Baby he's looked incredibly good. It's crazy to think that it's just not enough. He is, yeah, but 20 final blows, 5 deaths for him. That's crazy.
He's had a tremendous game, and it hasn't been a game where he's like Widow. Sometimes like you can put up crazy stats and just kind of play off to the side. You're not really impacting a ton of fights. You're just picking up some headshots here and there, etc. Like he has been a major part of all of the fight wins for the Atlanta Reign. Like if he hasn't played this out of his mind, imagine what this map would look like. I mean, the shock would have, you know, we'd be in the interview at this point, I think, because Babyface really kept Atlanta in it.
All right, Arns now wants to pave the way for the shock to a pretty tidy 3-0 here in this series. And if they sweep this series, I believe they clinch their spots as the top seed heading into our May Melee tournament. That's a familiar name. Memories of the old days. Here come the shock, though. And Rascal just keeping Hawk honest by keeping on the high ground. He abdicates said position. I want to see where Baby goes with this. I'm going to try and go for the low ground, maybe catch Violet. He just missed his opportunity for that. Super, surrounded, Super. Could be in deep trouble there. Somehow being kept alive as long as they did. He gets Edison. Oh, man. Atlanta needed Baby in position for that, but he was waylaid by a poison mine. And that's it. That's all she wrote. And there isn't any more. The San Francisco shock. Well, it's not going to be history repeating itself this time. That was pretty one-sided as far as series go, and the Atlanta Reign gets sent packing.
I love how Baby in the chat, Odds typed easy, and then Baby just typed LOL. Odds finally killed me, GG. But no, it seems like both of them just have a lot of respect for each other. You know, Uns was like, you were great. Then Baby was kind of like, you're scary. Like, just his the Widowmaker ability. As those two players put on a hell of a show in this final map, just answering each other with Widowmaker shots back to back.
Yeah, I mean, Baby accounting for 20 of the Atlanta Reign's 51 final blows on that Widowmaker there. So huge contribution. That's why he's on this team, and that's what is expected of him. It was a little bit more of an even share across the shock, but Violet, I'm so impressed by Violet. He gets 10 final blows in that round, accounting for a huge amount of his team's damage. And he, like, you know, we talk about Rascal back when he was a flex support player, right? They also have Architect who's played flex support. The Shock Shock have probably the best support players in the league. You got Moth, you got Violet, Rascal, Architect if needed. It is so frightening what they have just sat on the bench chilling.
I think where their supports excel, and I think we can talk about Violet and Moth, is that Moth is like a main support, and you see some of the other main supports in the league doing it are now able to flex over to the Zen at a reasonable level, Batiste in certain situations, Ana as well as on top of like the usual duties of like, you know, your Lucios and Mercies, where I think Moth can play all of those at a high level. He can like in-game lead on those roles. And then him and Violet just can cross over back and forth, whoever wants to play what. They can just really cover all grounds with their hero pools.
I was really impressed. Every time Super sort of got low in health, it was either an Immortality Field or a Transcendence or whatever. I mean, Super wants to play aggressive. The Shock wants him to play aggressive. He is the one that creates that space for Rascal to do insane things on the Echo, and of course for Ants to sit back, have a cup of tea, and click heads. So, really good job. The Shock understand how to facilitate their game plan by understanding where their resources need to be diverted to. And if we have a look at our Mayhem LA standings, we do see that it's confirmed. The San Francisco Shock clinch first spot here, and they'll be pretty happy about that one, Matt. That should be some smooth sailing for them going forward.
And they'll be able to pick their opponents.
Yeah.
So Friday, the upper teams will play, like the teams in the higher seed. I believe it's like I want to say it's 5 through 12 will get to play, and then after that you'll have your top 4 who will be able to pick who they play in the next round. So that'll be really interesting to see who the Shock decide they want to face off with after a lot of the other teams just kind of batter each other, beat each other up, and knock each other out.
I love it. It's a throwback to the old Apex days, you know what I mean, where like there was some drama about who chose who, and you see their Atlanta Rain, they go down and they will be tied for 7th place. So still absolutely in the running, but they are about as middle of the pack can be right now.
And I think for Atlanta, you know, I thought Baby Bay looked really good today. I thought Hawk had some moments on Sigma.
Sure.
But I think you just expect to, like I was so high on this team coming into Season 1 because of their performance last season, and then I know they figured, you're like, hey, you're at an Edison. I know you have some other player. Sharp comes in, right, where you thought they would see this kind of improvement. You'd almost be building a mini San Francisco Shock where you have so many high quality players at so many different positions, and you can mix and match every week, and you can move around, and you can do all this. And we just haven't seen it from Atlanta yet. I hope they do get there, though, because I think they have a lot of really fun and entertaining players.
I feel like they're on the same track, right, in terms of at least what it looks like they're trying to build their team around, right? These young, talented players. A lot of talented players on the battlefield today, Matthew, but one I really want to talk about here, because our player of the match presented by Xfinity is Rascal. Get yourself a DPS player that can do it all.
Wild on the Echo. I mean, I think that his movement on Echo's great, like being able to use her kit, but I think just what separates him is just the ability to duplicate, not just duplicate, just kind of go out there, get an ult, whatever, but to duplicate and use the kit as if like that was his main, for instance. Like the ability to copy the Batiste, which we've seen him play in the past, but being able to use all of his kit like in a pinch. Like, I think just the depth that he has to just duplicate in certain situations and be a huge difference maker with that, outside of just using the ultimate for the character that he duplicates, is just a massive game changer.
Well, we see a lot of players when they duplicate certain heroes. It's a matter of, hey, let's just get ultimate as quickly as we can, whether it's just shooting the nearest target or whatever. But in Rascal's case, you actually see that there is, I don't know how there's space or really time to make that particular thought, but very, very impressive to see just how adaptable the Shock look when they bring Echo in, and they can actually modulate their entire team composition based on any situation. That is essentially what Echo is supposed to provide you at the top level. But San Francisco could take it a step further by giving players like Rascal the autonomy to basically decide what their team comp is in moments when that ultimate's online.
And then I think weeks like this, you're going to see a lot of Aunts, and weeks that you can play a lot of Ashe, Widow, McCree. I mean, those are all of the heroes that are in his wheelhouse, where his aim is really strong. They've got him playing now really good just team Overwatch with the rest of the crew, so he just becomes another valuable piece that I think at the beginning of the year, everyone, when he got signed, wasn't sure he was going to get a lot of play. Definitely shown to make an impact.
No doubt about it. What a match. I mean, both of the ones that we've covered today, Matt, have been incredible for different reasons. But now, let's hear from the team of the moment. We've got Reinforced here to get some words.
Thank you, Mitch.
Super.
Yes, I'm here with Super after a relatively easy victory. Dominated the opposition with relative ease. Matthew, can you talk a little bit about why you were so superior today?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like actually, like with Shock, I feel like we get better as like metas go on. Because we actually had some struggles in scrims, but we had a good review today, and we kind of talked about some things that we thought we were having trouble with. and we just tried them out in the pre-game scrim, and they worked, and then we just took it into the match, and it worked as well. So I felt like we just kind of had a pretty good read.
Okay, so you actually decided today what composition to run, or was it a relatively easy week for you guys figuring out early what you wanted to play?
I mean, we had a few back and forths about different comms, but it was more so like strategy-wise what we wanted to do, not so much compositions.
Yeah. Well, you say that, you know, it comes down to strategy, but at the same time, you decided, of course, to play a lot of individually skilled heroes today. You were playing the Widowmaker and then put Rascal on the Echo, etc. It feels like you relied a lot on individual skill today. Would you say that's true, or do you think you had set strats going into this matchup?
I mean, we definitely had set strats, but I feel like for Echo kind of hard bullies tanks. Like, she's really oppressive to a lot of tanks, so I feel like you kind of have to rely on your DPS to get that pop-off potential going. Otherwise, you're gonna get rolled. You know, we kind of just did our strategies as we practiced them and made it work.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got the May tournament coming up next weekend, of course, and the fun thing is that if you're a good seed, you actually get to select your opponent. So is there any team you would like to select? You know, you cannot pick any team you want, but what is the team you want to beat the most going into the May tournament?
I didn't realize that was how it was being done. Wait, didn't I suggest that? Oh, I'm so smart. Anyways.
Well, I don't think you may not be the first person in esports to ever suggest that.
Yeah, but I'll take credit.
I've made some bad selections in my days. I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
so.
back in the Apex days. Wow, who would I want to pick? I don't know. I mean, maybe like.
Is there a team you really want to beat?
I mean, I don't know if there's any team in particular. I think we just look for the easiest route, so to say, not really looking to add any further pressure on ourselves.
Yeah. Well, Boston won today.
That is true.
So you gotta watch out.
Yeah,
you gotta watch out.
Maybe you're gonna pick the Gladiators. I don't know.
Okay. Well, wrapping things up, I got one final question for you,
sir.
Super. Of course, you reached a subscriber goal recently.
Oh, I did.
And you're now forced to cosplay as an anime character. I believe your subscribers have named it Matsuki. Do you have a rough date for when we will see you cosplay as an anime character?
Well, no, but I have been doing research and I've DM'd different people who can assist me with this, because if I'm gonna do a cosplay, I'm not gonna go, you know, halfway. I'm going all the way. I'm making it a quality product, you know?
Oh boy.
So I have to figure all of that out first, and then we'll see what the date is.
Well, you always surprise me, Super. Very interesting. Thank you so much for the interview.
Yes, sir.
All right, that wraps it up with my interview with Super. Next up, we got the Watchpoint post show coming up with me, Costa, and Zoe. Stay tuned for that. We got some amazing matches coming up tomorrow as well. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Great cast by Mitch and Matt, and I'll see you on the other side of the post show.
Goodbye.